With the greatest concentration of small island states worldwide, both the Pacific and the Caribbean regions face common threats based on the similar geography of small islands, accelerating climate change and the increasing frequency of related disasters. The South-South project promotes the exchange of best practices and expertise between the Pacific and the Caribbean through capacity building, and it encourages small islands to find relevant solutions that can be implemented with limited resources. As a recent part of the UNDP South-South project, a delegation consisting of UNDP, SOPAC, and Caribbean experts visited Kiribati to study climate issues facing atoll countries and the solutions being adopted in Kiribati. The group viewed several initiatives and a range of good practices including beach and sand mining, water harvesting and other conservation techniques, waste management strategies, regeneration of beaches, agricultural techniques, and sea level rise gauges. The experts then worked to propose recommendations on best practices.
I'm Karen Bernard. I work as a program specialist in disaster risk reduction and recovery at UNDP at the Regional Center. And I'm also the program manager for this South-South project, under which we brought some Caribbean experts over to Kiribati. And the purpose of that exchange was that as part of the project, we tried to share lessons learned and best practices among small island developing states. I wanted the Caribbean experts to come to an atoll country because that's one of the more extreme situations that we find in the Pacific in terms of water scarcity, extreme shortage of land, sea level rise which is increasing, and serious coastal erosion. So Kiribati is really the place where you see all of these threats which are quite advanced. And we felt it was important to get the perspective from the Caribbean experts and some ideas about solutions that might work in the case of Kiribati.
This past June, I attended a mission to Kiribati with a group of colleagues from the Caribbean and also here from the Pacific Center, as well as partners from SOPAC. In this exchange program, we were able to learn more about the effects of climate change on the people of Kiribati. This program started with a one-day overview from the government of Kiribati, explaining to us the various initiatives that they are undertaking to protect their people and the most vulnerable people in Kiribati from climate change. It was during this day that they clearly spelled out their policy objectives and how they are to go about how they're going to adapt to the effects of climate change and also mitigate the impacts.
After meeting with government officials, the group viewed several initiatives, such as the seawall to protect the airport runway from the ocean, a technical team testing drinking water for salinity, and gauges installed at the wharf to monitor the rising sea levels. Let's see what the experts had to say about their visit to Kiribati.
We arrived here about 3 days ago, and it's kind of surprising being on an island that is marginally above sea level. So it's been a really interesting experience going around and seeing how people adapt to living marginally above sea level and the types of challenges that they face. One of the things that we also are really struck by is the challenges in terms of adapting to climate change, where there's going to be impacts on the water resources, there are going to be coastal impacts on ecosystems and so on. And these are really, really interesting problems that are here and now type problems and problems that need to be solved today rather than tomorrow. But we're also interested in learning from the experiences here because some of these experiences we think are transferable to our own region as we prepare ourselves for climate change and climate adaptation.
We went to numerous sites around Kiribati, seeing this coastal zone erosion, and in some cases accretion, firsthand. One of the first places we went to was the airport, the Banriki Airport in Kiribati.
One of the seaforts built by the CAP project, CAP 2 project. Towards the end of the CAP project, they were trying to complete this seawall, but they ran out of money, so they have to terminate So as you can see, the seawall is not backfilled yet, and the purpose of the seawall is to protect the runway. This is only less than 10 meters. The edge of the runway is only less than 10 meters from the former coastline before the seawall was built.
The first thing I notice is that high waves break fairly far offshore, which suggests to me that this island has an excellent natural protection system, which perhaps has not been taken advantage of as much as it could have been, and protected as much as it could have been. I see that this island could have an excellent coastal structure, not just for the protection of its residents, but also for economic growth. However, because of the issues certainly with sand mining, those issues must be solved. If even in terms of restoration activities, you're going to be able to do anything in the medium to long term to restore the coast to their natural strength and resilience.
One of the important initiatives includes building upon natural lines of defense against coastal erosion. This includes managing mangrove sites.
This patch over here we planted with Protestant women last year during November, and we did plant more than 3,000 mangrove seedlings with them. With a mangrove, we see a lot of importance because we have traveled to outer islands, and where there are many mangroves, there are many marine life there. People used to go there and fishing. They don't have to go deep water, and also with strong storm and erosion, they are more safe from those kind of issues.
Pulaka pits and the taro that grows in them are major sources of food and economic activity for the Kiribati people. New methods and protective measures may need to be adopted if saltwater inundation continues to be a problem.
We also were able to go to the island of Abayang. We were able to go to some various sites in order to look at the coastal erosion issues.
If you pan out and just have a look at this area, you can see that there's, obviously it's intertidal. You've got the young mangroves all growing in here, and you can see the channel here where the water's coming in from the lagoon at high tide. Further out, you've got all those dead, mature coconut trees. So that's a sign of recent inundation in an area that's been freshwater dominated for quite a long time. And that's precisely the issue with the village here, is that they've had all of this low-lying area here as a freshwater area. I think they used to have taro gardens, etc. inside it.
The main reason I ask for only the seawater gradually goes through the pond, and on the land we have sometimes blackish water. They have tried their best to build walls maybe a couple of months ago. They plan to go to find another. They shift to another place where they decide to be comfort.
There is limited access to fresh water in atoll countries. The analysis conducted on this mission supports that there may be considerable groundwater potential on Bondrigi Island. Going forward, the South-South project will address the limited access to potable water in atoll countries and provide a sustainable, replicable plan of action.
Yeah, in moving forward, what we had discussed, the team had discussed with the colleagues from Caribbean, is to have some more exchange programs, especially in observing the coastal protection and also the new technologies in freshwater harvesting from seawater, or desalination using empowered by solar, which they are now piloting in the Caribbean.
It would be of benefit for our technicians to come to the Pacific and to learn about those methodologies. What do you do when you are not given a blank check for coastal climate change adaptation. How can you use what you have or what is available in terms of information data?
Yeah, I think the most interesting part was the people themselves. Although they, as an outsider, we identify the vulnerabilities, very high vulnerabilities, and it's really taking its toll, being the coast being washed away because of these coastal processes, and also the drought situation. There's not enough fresh water. But we noticed that the people are very much at ease. They are not moved. They enjoy their life, and that really challenges us how resilient they are and some of the strategies they have developed over time to be able to counter those difficulties.
It was during this time and during this mission that I was able to really bring home 2 key points. And one of them is that the policy framework in Kiribati is quite advanced, and it's working towards good strategies and frameworks to mainstream climate change throughout all sectors. I also noticed that in the technical aspects, that whereas there's a lot known about sea level rise and coastal erosions, there's also still a significant amount of information that we do not know. And it is this type of information that we really need to understand more clearly in order to be most effective in our adaptation responses.
There is great potential for exchange of ideas, experiences, and best practices between seeds in the Pacific and the Caribbean in order to find suitable solutions and replicate best practices for addressing the various threats posed by climate change and disasters. The way forward for seeds countries also entails the harmonization of disaster risk management and climate change science for a more integrated approach which grasps the critical linkages between these fields of work.